Ooh.
3,
Oh man,
2,
countdown too.
1.
This is so much cooler than the podcast software we use.
Before I do the music, I want to make
Yeah?
sure it actually populates.
Okay. Is it populating? Is
It
there?
is populating.
All right.
Nice.
For everybody that was not expecting this show today, you have a whole new announcer. Just call me Neil Patel. What's his name? The guy from NPR. Neil something. Oh, why am I blanking? on
He's
it?
taking Christian's spot. Is basically what he's saying.
I'm taking Christian's spot now. Because I've got them dang Ohio allergies just hitting me like a madman. So I pray to God I don't sneeze in the next 50 minutes.
Oh, it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's going to be gross. It'll be everywhere. But
We'll just see it like on the lens.
Beautiful.
Hachook
Just a nice
everywhere.
little smudge. Yeah.
swipe it in. What's on your camera, bro?
It's a booger. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, today is an extremely special episode because, as you all know, we've been talking about vesks. We've been talking about Fockers. We've got a series we've been recording as we're going through and doing all of this unique stuff to our DIY wheels. That's what I'm going to call it for now. And there's been another movement happening on the software side of things. And all I can say is it just reminds me of the days when I was like, I was telling you this, like 6, 7, 8 years old, and a PlayStation Portable came out, and people told me, hey, there's some things you can do to like modify this and actually get what you want out of your PSP and unlock its full potential. And that's what this company reminds me of. So everybody, let's give a nice round of applause for ReWheel and Nish. Outlandish on Instagram and Discord. And is that like your whole like branding too and everything?
Yeah. I started it when I was doing racing, and then I just have kept it since.
Okay, awesome. And you're hanging out at Tire Sire right now, right? Look at all them one wheels behind you.
Yeah, all the fun toys.
That is
Mostly customers' boards that I've yet to send invoices because priorities, they can't ride because we need to podcast.
So if you see your board on the shelf right now, I'm sorry.
if you see your board on the shelf, just apply for a 5% discount. You put in code Pushback Army. I'm just kidding.
Oh no!
Nice.
I
They
can't
say the special
retroactively bleep
keyword
that out. I'm sorry.
stoke when picking up.
And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe.
Oh man.
So on the back wall, I can see we've got some XRs. Are there any GTs hanging out back there?
We got a couple, 2 functioning, 2 temporarily broken, but we think we can fix them.
Oh, that is always good to hear when we can fix a GT because everyone knows that it's not an easy task to fix one of
And
them.
this guy, the beast. This is the
But
best one.
that guy. Now that's the one that you just finished, right?
Yes.
Ooh.
So that one. That's the one we ripped apart or we ripped the chip off of, so we could actually do all the fun ReWheel stuff.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah.
So if anyone doesn't know what ReWheel is, all right. Now there's a reason I wanted to have these guys on the show, but ReWheel is, it's just amazing. That's all you need to know.
It's cool. It seriously, like, it does harken back to that like PSP
Uh-huh.
thing where you're like, man, I'm gonna do this, and then I can just do everything with this system.
It's such a simple process. We went through this process, but all right, like the quick rundown. I don't want to give it. I want to have you give it, Nish. But
Oh no.
Like-
no. I'm gonna flip that back on you.
oh, you're gonna flip it back on me?
Oh,
All right.
my.
Yeah. This
right.
is now that you've been through the process, you can teach the rest of the world about it too.
I can teach the rest of the world. Well, here's what I can tell you. If you have a computer, and it's got a Bluetooth, I don't know, a newer computer. I was like, I didn't even know if I was like, do I need a Mac? Do I need a PC? I think it's just any computer that has Bluetooth.
Probably something within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe sooner. I don't know, because when did Bluetooth technology like really start to come through browsers and computers?
I mean, if your computer has Bluetooth, you can probably get a browser that's got it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so this whole process, it was so dumb. I'm gonna call it dumb simple. It took me like 30 minutes, and it only took me 30 minutes because I was recording a video of us actually doing it. And you follow the steps. That's it. I mean, you just go through it. There were a few changes from like your original tutorial that you had put out, and I'm like, I'm just gonna follow this video. That's what I told people on the video we were recording of the process. And then it was only like at one point it gave me at the very end it gave me like an error code. It was like flashing or something.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to do a dump or whatever. But then I just turned it off and turned it back on, and I was like, oh, it's ready to go. I think. I don't know. Like it connected, and we just freaking ripped that thing through the shop. Like
Love it.
It was a tiny XR. That's what it was. That's what it was.
Good old power cycle to fix it. Love it.
Yeah. Turning it off and turning it back on again.
So it was so cool to see. Now I didn't play a whole lot with the tilt because I know there's like you can do a little bit with the tilt remote and whatnot. We didn't play with that a whole lot, but just the being able to have the XR level pushback and then the RP the speed enabling. So
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, we were like, let's just go ahead and max it out because that's kind of what we do.
Let's see what happens.
Like,
What speed you guys hit?
so I'd have to go back and look. Actually, I think we probably because we were in the shop. It was rainy like crazy, so I couldn't go outside. There wasn't that much of a run. Probably 22, 23, I would say.
Still pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't tell with the push. Like you really can't tell like with that level of pushback. Like normally on a pint, I mean, I'd be like straight Captain Morganing, like ready to like whip the board off.
Dude, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't press it that hard because I was kind of scared. I was like, I don't know what this board's gonna do. Like,
just
and
felt-
it's little, and like if I do, like I will fall out from under this thing if I'm not
Yeah.
careful. Yeah.
So like now for everyone listening and watching on the show, I have a original pint. It was 5042, and then so you go through the process, you downgrade it to 5040 using the ReWheel software, and then you can kind of load in whatever types of patches that you want to go through. So we put in just kind of the standard ones to do a little bit of custom shaping that we played around with. And my original pint when I bought it, I was like, the range is just absolute ass on this thing. I have to get a battery in this. So that was my first modification I ever did on a one wheel. That was put it together and put a quart battery in. So it's got a Shy quart battery in it. And then
Also,
I'm like,
can I just jump in? It's definitely chai, not chi, because it's from Chicago. So the shy, like it's just not chi. Sorry.
it's not chi, it's shy or chai. Because that was that what Nico said? Right?
It is if you're a
That's
hippie and you're like,
chai.
oh, energy, but I don't think the double meaning intent.
Yeah.
You'd have to confirm with Bar though. Show.
It's so funny when people like. I think when brands have a name like that, they should actually go through and make a video with like the naming. There's a brand. So I'm an audio engineer. We do a lot of different stuff in the audio world. There's a brand called Behringer, and so it's like a big world debate. Is like, is it Behringer or is it Behringer? And they actually made a big YouTube video on their page and like went around everybody in their office with a phone, and it's like, how do you pronounce it? And they're like, and you would get everyone's different one, but anytime they'd say it wrong, they would just like turn the camera away from them and go to somebody else.
Okay, so wait, what is it?
It's Behringer.
Behringer? Okay.
It's like
That
a UK company. Behringer.
Behringer.
Porsche had to do a very similar video because no one knew how to say Porsche.
Oh, I wonder.
Are you serious? Oh man, I've been saying it wrong for 28 years.
That's a Porsche.
It's a Porsche.
Got yourself a Porsche, buddy. Porsche. But anyways, back to so my pint is been revived. I'm gonna call it revived because basically it became my kid's board. Now I'm like kind of like, oh crap, now my kid's riding this thing and he's flying, like he's zooming around. He's safer now. There's not as much pushback because he's so light, you know. But it's so cool. This best way for people to get in, right? I think for my experience is just get into the Discord, right? Get into the Discord and kind of see what people are talking about in like what's happening, and then follow those videos, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that was kind of cool, specifically about the top speed thing, is I could not figure out for the longest time if it was actually working because Matt here was testing. But I was like doing all the coding, and then Matt would go out and basically just throw his body on the line to test out the ReWheel patches, and he would hit the exact same speed, 21 miles an hour on both like a stock pint and then the regular pint. I was like, I don't know if this thing is working at all. But
Oh,
it's just
man.
because he could ride through that pushback really well.
Well, dude, I'll tell you what. I will. I'll go out because I have it set to the max. Like when it gets a little drier, we'll go set it. We'll test the top speed with it. I've got no problem doing that. So
That sounds fun. Yeah.
Full-
I mean, I now
full
know
body
in
kit.
hindsight that so many people have tested it out that it does work. It's just it took me a minute to believe in it myself.
right.
Yeah.
It's I mean the amount of performance unlock. I mean it just felt like a whole brand new board. I'm like, this is a brand new one wheel sitting in front of me. So that little form factor. Now I'm like second guessing because I'm building a growler right now and I'm making an FM free board. So we got like the tiny tail rails. We're gonna get the super flux motor, either that or the float wheels
Ooh.
hub.
Yeah.
Got a I think we're gonna put in a battery that's not on the market yet. That's all I'll say. But
Ooh.
crazy amount of torque. Crazy. It's basically 2 XR batteries in one. So it's pretty insane. And then of course like Badger's torque box, and then well, I might put on like a Whisper wide or something. I'm gonna make it the follow up to my other one wheel, which is we did custom rails with Elite Custom, and it looks like Venom. So like it says we are Venom on it, and it's all black and red. So I'm like, well, it only makes sense to make the follow up Carnage. So I'm gonna make the second FM free board Carnage and just
Love
make
it. What's
make
the
it nasty.
what's the livery or the paint job on that going to be?
So right now it's just a black tiny tail rails, and then I'm trying to figure out like it's got to be that like red Carnage, like nasty like Venom slime coming around it. I don't know yet. I gotta like really put some thought into it before I get too crazy. But
It sounds
Real
like
quick,
a fun build though. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. We have some people in the chat.
Oh, dang
and
it.
they're excited.
I totally
Jan
forgot.
Temple says, hi. Matthew says, howdy. Billy Shredder's in the house. So is Floating McFly. And I love it when they call me Nick Popa. He's also in the chat right now.
Oh man, look at all the people hanging out with us in the chat. This is a special episode, and more importantly than what happens with the pint, because like that is a very select market, right? And I feel like there's a whole lot of people being extremely pleased with this. But you have something else that you've officially gotten into that might be more important to some of the other people watching right now. And are we ready to talk about some of that yet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, basically, absolutely. Everything that we did on the pint, we can now do on GTs as well. So
let's
you're talking about custom shaping.
go.
You're talking about increasing the max top speed, all that fun stuff.
Okay, so when you increase max top speed on a GT, now I'm
insane.
interested.
Well, now, Billy, Bart. Bart's going to wipe out at 42 miles an hour on a GT, and we're just going to lose him.
Please
Don't do it, Bart.
Don't do it, Bart.
I gotta pull up these comments real quick. But
Corey, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry. Excited, got 2 of our pints rewheeled.
how do you like
hell
them?
yeah.
I'm gonna pull this up.
Yeah,
real quick.
so Nish, no joke. I was talking to somebody upstairs about just what's going on in the space and how cool I think it is, because there's that like little rebellious side of me that Caleb doesn't see too often, but it's there. That like
Float safely.
Float safely until now. Hey, look at our descriptions now on the podcast. He doesn't say that. I love that there's like this little rebellious side of the community going on right now, where they're like, all right, you're not giving us what we want, so we're just gonna take it. And I just
make
like
it.
I love that. I think that's the best thing ever, especially for something like this.
I mean, that's kind of where the project even got started. I mean, we were trying to just get like controllers and BMSs to work, like, because I don't know, here at your shop, how many do you have here? Just like laying around. Like,
Broken.
Yeah, broken.
Broken stuff. Graveyard here, and it is really disappointing when you can't save them all, and I have to tell customers like, sorry, it basically totaled because of this one little thing or the pairing or whatever, and that has been a really harsh reality for all store owners for a while that aren't Future Motion themselves. That's kind of bupkis because you don't really support the independent repair network. Shout out riderepairs.com, formerly Stoke Life Service. But so a lot. Probably come across like 24 or so boards I couldn't fix and just had the controllers laying around and had to salvage parts from them and stuff. But recently I've been like, oh, wait, hold on. We can fix them. And so it's pretty sweet.
Somebody's getting a call back like 2 months later, like, hey, actually, remember what I said?
It's the boards on the back wall.
Yeah, good news for you. Yeah, if the board's on the back wall, hit us up.
Seriously, the one right there had a dead controller on the pint, and so I swapped it out and was getting an error, and then we re-wheeled it, and now there's no error. And pretty soon we're going to be able to revive the dead controllers as well by just swapping out the brain with a new one,
Man.
and then writing their
That is
software
the
on it. So
coolest thing ever.
That is so amazing. Like, it's just, I love that it, I love that the community was finally just between the Vesk project and between this now, that it's like, you know what? We're tired of it. We've waited long enough. We've given enough chances. We want what we want. We're just going to make it ourselves. I don't care
Yeah.
what the cost is. We're going to make it.
And I think that's the part that's also interesting is that like we decided to make this like an open source thing that like literally is just out there for free because it was such an annoying thing that like even something as simple as like getting like a new like BMS for your controller costs like $600 because of this pairing thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know. For me, like I got into one wheels pretty late.
Yeah.
Probably in the last like 2 or 3 years. And the fact that like you couldn't even do like that basic thing of like, can I just change out this thing? Because I remember like I tried putting a quart battery in my one wheel pint and immediately ripped off like the BMS connector the first time I did this mod. And I was like, I don't know. I had already been like 3 months in. I'd ridden by like, I don't know, 500 or 600 miles. And I was obsessed with this one wheel. I was like, no, what do I do? And then I bought another one, broke that one too. So I was like, okay, I just got to fix this at this point.
Oh no.
When I put a quart in my pint, that was like one of the sketchiest things I'd done in my like. I was like very Apple-esque user at this point because it's been like beyond like working on audio stuff and whatnot and getting repairs. Like I kind of just leave my computer stuff alone. Same thing with like a one wheel. I was like, I don't want to mess with this. Like I don't want to do the wrong thing here. Like taking me way back. And then and now I'm just here pulling boards apart left and right. We're putting all kinds of stuff in them. Like
Yeah, I never
the
thought I would
best.
take my board apart all the way down to what it did. I took it down to the nuts and bolts. I took that damn rail off that thing, and like technically I didn't take the tire off, but the tire got taken off. Real quick, while I have the attention, I have a question from Matt Weber. I re-wheeled my 5314 pint. The custom shaping is rad. However, I've discharged my pint down to about 2.5, 2.6 volts, and the charger won't change from green and allow charging. Any clue? Multimeter confirms 63.3 volts.
That's rough. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a really good answer to that because lithium ion really shouldn't be going down that low. So those cells are probably not. I don't think you're going to be able to charge those things back up. I don't know too
Isn't
much
it like
about batteries.
3.5?
I think the safety cutoff is 3 volts, but you really shouldn't be going below, I think, 3.2. Someone who actually is an expert in lithium ion should comment, but yeah.
You may have
Once you're in the 2.6, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, you may have diminished your cells there.
oh, so
Sorry.
this is a quart too, by the way. Damn.
Oof.
Oh
yeah, I actually
no.
ruined my quart too. Yeah. Actually, just remember I need to pick that up.
How do you? I don't even know.
yeah.
How do you do that? Like, how do you just run it to the grave? Like,
Yeah,
How do
it's
you-
probably that, and then also just like cell life at some point. That thing is just not going to hold the same kind of charge it does that when you first got it. I know for me, I've been pretty terrible to anything that has a lithium ion battery pack on it.
oh, look at that! Look who's chiming in. We've got the board garage with us. That would be Mr. Mario Contino.
Hey.
Now we've got experts answering the questions in
go.
the comments.
The
Now
actual
we
smart
have
cookies.
experts.
Yeah.
I'm just a dumb box of rocks that wears things that say "Just send it, bro."
Send it. I'm like almost a bridge between the just send it and the science nerds, but not quite.
I could figure it out, but I'm like,
Yeah.
let's head at it. So, you said you got. I'm curious, like your background. You said you got into one wheel a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
Is that? Do you start with a pint?
I did. So I had come from riding first boosted boards, and then I was on a summer board for the longest time. I love the summer board. I still have that thing.
The summer board, is that the one that like twists around?
Yeah, it's basically like a freeboard that has electric motors on it, so
Okay.
you can butter like on a snowboard. And I'd come from snowboarding before that, so
Yeah.
that was just a very natural fit.
I do have to say it though because it's a thing. Friends don't let friends buy pints. It's not a thing. Don't.
Now.
Apparently they
Okay,
but
now
they have
now.
ReWheel
Now I
pints.
might change my tune on that after riding your pint.
We need to get some ReWheel stickers and just slap them on. When you go to
Oh
Facebook
yeah, I'm still
Marketplace,
slacking
buy
on those
some.
designs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, get those over to us. We'll get those things printed. We're just
Yeah.
gonna we'll be the ones that are going rescuing them from all the people that don't know. So you go to Facebook
And just
Marketplace,
just tag
like
boards with a ReWheel. Your
ReWheel a
board's been
bunch of 'em.
rewheeled for you. You had no choice in the matter.
Yeah, right. It's a Pine XR now.
But dude, like for real though, if ReWheel had been around when I was selling my pint, I don't think I would have sold my pint. That would have absolutely changed the game for me.
I mean, it rips. We had a Pint X and my pint in the shop, and I rode both of them, and I legitimately felt like mine had more ass in it.
I believe that. But then over here we have a test pint X that has ReWheel stuff on it, which is the real fun setup.
Oh,
Because you get
okay.
that second set of batteries for that little bit of extra torque.
Right. So Pint X ReWheel, that's a whole different story. And my
It
comparison would
is.
have been just like stock Pint X with like
Yeah.
ReWheel Pint, and we were going back and forth with it, and just
Yeah.
I was ready to do some shit.
I really wish we could release the Pint X stuff, but I mean, technically it is released. You could go if you had the firmware to the ReWheel website and patch it, but the problem is that to do it in a legal fashion, which has been the toughest part with ReWheel, is making sure we stay on the right side of the law,
Right.
so that they can't
So-
come after us. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, and you can talk about what you can or can't on air. That's fine. But like,
Yeah.
let's talk about the legal process of this for a minute, because technically speaking, everything that we do with the Pint and now with the GT, right, is legal, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you even figure that out? Like, what is the steps to go through to figure out like that process?
The boring answer is you read the law, and I'm not a lawyer, and I obviously is subject to interpretation by someone who actually is a lawyer. But from what I understand of like DMCA ruling as well as the current legislature for right to repair, the things that we've done falls on the correct side of that equation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, have
and
you
that's
guys-
because go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, from this, like, we'll call it right or wrong side of the law, because there's a lot of people who have done things on the right side of the law with
Yeah.
interactions with Future Motion that are still getting C&Ds and not so kind letters. Have you guys had anything come from them?
Thankfully, no, not so far. And at any rate, I think some of the things that are kind of in the benefit of ReWheel is one, it's an open source project that's not for profit.
Right.
Like I'm not making any money off of it other than if people send me donations, which is cool. Thanks to the people who actually what funded this GT. But then past that, like I think the fact that we're not explicitly using any like Future Motion trademarks, which I think was an issue with a certain company that got in
Yeah.
some legal snafu with Future Motion.
Yes, I would agree. And unfortunately, that company is kind of out of the running at the moment. So,
Yeah.
like, it's sad to see like that stuff happen, but also like I kind of get it. Like, you gotta not directly call it, like, when you call something an FFM FFM product, like I guess you're really asking, like you're kind of poking this,
Yeah, but even more than that, like I think they were actually even okay with that part. It's when you look at the legal like documents that they sent, is that they were showing the trademark, and they're like, this literally just has an extra letter on it, and that's
right.
it's our trademark, so our brand mark.
Slightly problematic.
It's a parody. No.
Yeah,
Right. I think what I did for our one wheel wrap was considered a parody. I don't know if this is considered a parody. It's like,
this might be a little different.
copyright.
Oh no, your rap was legit. Like that's textbook parody.
Yeah, right.
You're
Yeah.
good.
So let's talk a little bit about how many people so far have, because it just got like, what is the release time for like the GT now? Like, is it officially out? Is it up on the site, like ready to go? Like,
Well, so yes and no. Like you can go if you have firmware, you can patch ReWheel GT firmware and go ahead and flash it to your board. The place that the thing that makes it challenging right now is that we don't have a way for you to get the decryption keys for like firmware updates from Future Motion. So that's the
Okay.
part that when you saw the Pint extractor, which has a little rainbow color thing,
yeah,
that's pulling all the firmware. And the reason why we do that is so that you then have a legal copy to your firmware key that you can then use to decrypt Future Motion ROMs. So we need to give people the ability to do that on the GT because they changed that process a little bit on the GT compared to older boards.
I gotcha. So how does somebody then acquire like the firmware, like you're talking about?
Currently, you had to float the chip off the controller. So, yeah, you can show an example.
A
The number-
live demonstration. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, you should actually XR that we had pulled from a board. This thing, like the chip is so like the legs on it are so tiny that. Do you have that? Yeah. Oh yeah. Check this out. That's
Oh my god.
So that's a controller from the XR. That's an old 4209 board. And when we first tried pulling that firmware off, we couldn't, for whatever reason. We later realized that we were just looking at it in the wrong orientation. But we literally had one of our other buddies who was like an expert with electronics go and like solder these like super fine wires to every single one of the legs, and it looks like the most crazy like mad scientist setup ever. And we were like dumping firmware. We have videos of it somewhere.
Oh man.
Looked
So-
like yeah, looked like every scene from a movie of a hacking scene.
I'm in.
Exactly. With the
We need to
hoodie on.
come there and make like a we were just talking about this, doing like an Italian Job parody or something
Yes.
like Thankful.
Oh my God.
gosh.
That absolutely does look like every hacking movie ever.
Oh, you haven't even seen
bomb!
what was showing up on the computer screen after that.
Oh man. So so then timeline wise, like for the general people, like I'm gonna assume
Yeah.
most people are not gonna be pulling in, getting into this
No.
extent. What are you looking at timelines for the extractor?
Well, with luck, maybe next week. I thought it was gonna be this week, but life.
Yeah, no, totally. I
Yeah.
mean, you're on a free project. We get it. Like we don't we don't make money with Pushback either. So
Yeah. Well, so for me, it was that I didn't have a kitchen sink for like the last 2 weeks. So I've been
Oh, yeah,
I've
that's
just
a
been doing all the fun house DIY projects. So that's kind of taken up my time.
dang.
The most
always-
adult thing that I've said on this podcast. The most
Dude, I get
boring
it.
adult thing. Yeah.
Dude, I have 3 kids at home. I have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So pretty much I don't exist in life. Like I'm in here and then I'm like gone. Like Taylor's like, where did he go? Like
Nisha's put everything into the ReWheel problem, even the kitchen sink.
yeah, right.
Nice.
That's good. The I had a question about in the Discord chat. There's a user XFat. What's his actual name?
His actual name is Aaron.
Aaron. So Aaron was telling me about that there was a patch going to be available here pretty soon that you would also be able to see accurate readings on the quart battery inside of your pint without having to do that, without getting an ST link, right?
Without getting the owie.
Oh, without getting the OE. Okay. So
ST link.
Oh yeah.
That's for like live debugging. It's
yeah.
So this one is basically before we had the ReWheel website app thingy. We were going in through this way, and if you were to really mess up your one wheel, this is like the surefire hardwire way to put your software back on it. Youth protocols or something.
Got
Just reflash it.
Okay, so because I remember he'd mentioned, he's like, "Oh, it's kind of in beta right now. We could get you the patch and put it on your pint."
Yeah.
But if you run into an issue, you gotta be ready to use an ST link on it. I was like, all right, cool, whatever I gotta do. But I haven't patched it yet because you said maybe it was something that was going to be added in natively on the website. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, so that's the other part. So one, he's out of town this week. He'll be back next week, and we're gonna kind of collab on that. But we had to upgrade the actual ReWheel website so that you can. So up until now, all the ReWheel patches that you've seen, they're basically modifying what already exists in Future Motion code. Where in this case, like Aaron and there's another guy named Georgi, they basically added some new code to the Future Motion firmware, and I haven't supported that yet in the ReWheel website. So that's the next step, is figuring out how to combine that in a way that anyone can like go and like literally hit a check mark and say, yep, I want to use a quart battery instead of a stock battery.
that is absolutely incredible. Like giving people that kind of flexibility and power, like power back to the users, right?
Yeah,
Power to the
yeah.
players.
Power to the players.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just don't go.
Yeah.
No, there's no bankruptcy here.
Yeah, no. No hedge fund manager. No.
Wait.
So are those the most exciting updates that you kind of have that around this project, or is there anything
Ooh,
kind
that's
of
just
new?
the tip of the
coming?
iceberg.
Just the tip
Oh.
of the iceberg. All right. So here's
You
what I'd
heard it
like
here first, folks.
Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to start to go into this. I'm going to keep listening. I need to plug my computer in here real quick. So I'm going to grab
Do
my
your thing,
charger
yeah.
and plug it in.
You can talk to
but
me.
I want to keep this thing rolling across before my computer does.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Tell me
So
all about this.
the most exciting thing that, and I think people have heard us talk about this on the Discord, on the Discord group channel. I don't know what the word is. Server. That's
Chat? Server, yeah.
I can't server. That's the word. But you know how in Veskland you can basically edit any parameter of like how the board balances. We could do
Yes.
that with the stock boards. So like true custom shaping, not
Oh.
not future motion custom shaping.
So we're talking like T values.
Oh
and
yeah.
all that.
I don't know if you heard Matt, but he was also
I did
talking
not.
about remote tilt. So just
on
like
a
you do on
on
the
a
Vest.
stock
Oh, yeah.
board.
I really wish I could show you the video. Aaron actually has a really kick-ass demo. I don't want to steal his thunder, so you've got to wait for him to publish it. But
Okay.
he has this amazing remote tilt demo, and he doesn't use a remote in his hand. He uses a different gesture-based system, and it's so cool to see. And it works on
gesture?
every board. Yeah.
Based system. Is it that glove with the little thing inside? I
No.
want one. Oh, that's so
but
cool.
but just think about what other smart devices you have on your everyday life that have maybe sensors on them, and you might be able to use that to do tilts.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm excited.
This is amazing.
we have
what
to
about
know.
what about pausing?
Oh yes, that's absolutely possible to do. Yeah,
Yes. Please let me pausing my pint. Please let me pausing my pint.
yeah, that's something that especially Matt we've talked about quite a bit.
Also, one of the early things, kind of funny, but generally useless, was we can put simple stop on XRs. So if you're into that, it's just not gonna have any indicators. But you have to like look over to the side button or purple lights or something. But yeah, that's the thing. There's so many
Now-
little nifty tricks you can do with it. Just putting in the time and resources.
When we were rewheeling our pint, one of the things, this is real dumb, but I was like, when it came on and it was the rainbow colors going, I was like, ooh, pretty colors. I'm like, they should just leave this as a future to like go
So
on
we do have
riding.
that. You in the original mode when we made it, we have it basically like full like neon cat rainbow going on.
That is
But-
so cool.
Yeah, so we actually have ways to change the lights. So if you want to do like, I don't know, you want to go like French rally car from the 70s and have headlights in the front instead of white, you could do stuff like that.
No way.
Wait,
Knight Rider.
Yeah.
wait. So the pint headlights are just
They're
LED.
RGB.
They're
They're
RG
RGBs. Yeah.
They're
They
addressable
missed out.
LEDs.
They missed out on so much.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
ridiculous. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
And the GT.
And the G. Yep.
Why? You like put all that functionality in there, then just be like, yeah, we're not gonna use it.
Yeah,
You get
we're not gonna
white
use
and
it.
red.
Now
Yep.
I can have a pushback theme GT.
Yes.
Yeah. And even cooler. So,
Classics.
so the guy named Georgi who is the guy who made the AOE chip.
Yeah.
He has a patch where you can basically get like your Badger Sense style duty cycle. He has it broadcasting to an app, but I was thinking even putting it right on the little status bar of the pint. So you can have a
Yeah.
little color bar right there. You just quickly glance down and you know where you're at.
That is really cool.
And to be fair, like legally, I think probably the reason Future Motion didn't get too creative is because I've heard of someone in my repair network was riding and they didn't have their lights on, and they got pulled over and ticketed for it because they're like, well, this is like a motor vehicle and you're at night and you don't have headlights or taillights, so I'm gonna fine you.
Thank God for
so-
open source projects. Thank God for people making things where it's like, well, no one's to blame. But
Well, I mean, right now I don't got lights on my board, so we need to.
yeah, that's a whole different issue with like Fokkers. Obviously,
Yeah.
like we don't have a headlight situation fully fleshed out yet. Like it's not there. But I want to jump into the comments here real quick and shout out to all the
yeah.
24 peeps hanging out with us live
That is
right now.
This is the most we've had.
We've instead of tens of listeners, we've got 20s of listeners.
20s, and I'm about it.
Man, just come on the show every time.
25. Ah!
Man. All right, so I want to come back here. Matt had a question. Can you elaborate on the pint speed threshold variables? What's the numbers reference?
Oh.
And
I
someone
wish
said
I
it-
knew what the number referenced. I just saw the variable and I saw it had different values for the pint, the XR, and the pint X. So I was like, okay, let's just keep bumping it up. And then the guy Georgi I was talking about, he was like, you know what? Let's just double the value, not double, but like I don't know, increase it by like 500 past what even the XR has. And his pint just started going and that's well, we have that max of 2,000 now.
Nice. So it's just like
You're like, let's
like well,
let's find out.
just send it.
Hold my beer.
Oh, why do you think I had Matt testing all the patches out instead of me?
And
Everyone,
yeah.
everyone
Add
in
it
their
up.
area, they need to have like the brains behind the operation, and then they need to have their test dummy. Like Ori, every time we have something like wild, because I'm always like the cinematographer behind things, and I'm like, hey, dude, I got a really crazy idea for a shot. We might need you to like jump through some explosives or something, but are you down? And like, he's always so chill about it. Everyone's got their test dummy. Matt, you sound like the test dummy over there.
I mean, I always wear a brain bucket. Sometimes wrist guards if we're doing something really sketchy. But to be fair, nothing's been sketchy yet. Besides, probably when like way early on, you're like, "Hey, I think I found how to change the level of the board, the angle like elevated, but I'm not sure if it's forwards or backwards, and I'm not sure if it's like gonna put you directly into tailspin and whatnot." And so we just did some crazy values, and it was writing like Captain Morgan. So that was a little sketch, but at least like I knew it was coming. But yeah, I don't think I've crashed on one yet. Maybe had some runouts when I was like testing the top speed, but nothing bad.
You're like,
oh.
thanks, man.
Well, the best part is that he tested this right before Float Life Fest too,
Yeah.
and he took the board with that like
Yeah.
experimental patch to Float Life Fest.
Oh yeah, I'll show that. But also, someone just asked, how about signal lights? Tricky to show left/right. That's definitely possible, and you could probably do it with like how the board tilts left or right, and then have like how like Audis have their taillights going.
Yeah.
Same thing for left right.
Yo.
Dude,
Maybe,
all
like,
the
yo.
stuff, this is gonna come to Fokker too at some point. Like it's gonna happen, and I'm
absolutely.
excited
Well, it
for
has-
it.
I mean, it's all open. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get to that point.
Oh
the
yeah,
one.
this is
Yeah.
the original prototype for ReWheel.
Dude, this is so incredible.
This is
the
the best
the
thing
amount of
ever.
things that like like the amount of capability, like I love the amount of capabilities you guys are talking about with this thing, because there's so many people that are out there that they're either we'll just call it bored of their boards, or like they want something new with it, or they're thinking maybe I want to go vest but really don't want to go all the way into it. Like it's like that process I went through, we'll call it a 30-minute commitment. Like that's a pretty much anybody can do type of thing
Yeah.
with little risk. Well, I mean, there is some risk, right? But
There's a little, yeah. But like when I think about that compared to, I made one of my pints into a Vesk pint, and I love making a Vesk, and I'm still gonna make like a Vesk XR, but I don't think it's very easy when you have like a newer board like a pint or a GT.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to vest my GT. Like, there's just a lot of things. Like, and I've told them about this now that we're riding Fokkers all the time, one or XRs. Like, I just go for my XR every time. I don't touch the GT. It's crunchy.
Yep.
It feels like a stale bag of chips versus like when I get on my XR. And that's like, I don't even have a really good battery put into it yet. There's just certain things that like the board feel in itself. I'm much more of a board feel person, right? Like
Yeah.
you, like coming from snowboarding, skateboarding, like there's just specific ways I ride things. Like I'm going to choose to ride a 87 softer wheel versus a harder wheel. Like this, the intricacies. And I feel like those are the things that even the Vesca unlocks, those intricacies of what you want.
Dude, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I got on my girlfriend's XR and almost threw up. It was bad, dude. After riding Vesk and on the tire that I have, I was like,
But then like when you see like what people like, I think the real cool blend is the people who can really do both. So people when you see like Dado or like Nico, who are like mixing like the tech and also have a really good ride feel, like that's where the really cool magic happens.
So speaking of Nico, and he came last Friday, we were talking about a bunch of stuff. We have an episode coming out where we're talking about like the actual way that you should do board configuration with the motor config, IMU config, like some of the things that are coming out here pretty soon. They haven't released that new version yet, but he had the beta version and we went through that process. Very seamless. He got us set up, but we went to a park that has this crazy like 45-degree, like I don't know, it's probably 18 feet up in the air, and he had his tilt remote with him, and he's flying. There's like a foam pit on the backside. And he's like, he comes around and he goes straight up that thing, and you're like, What?
Yeah.
What did I just witness?
Unbelievable.
Meanwhile,
So now-
meanwhile, even just going to the House of Vans on a little dip on a stock board, and you just get stuck trying to go up a tiny little pool.
Nose dip.
That's like the coolest part for me is just all the stuff that we like. No one thought of this when the one just like, oh, EUCs are better because they can do inclines, and one wheels just have that like fatal flaw of not fatal, but annoying flaw of catching the nose or whatever. And so if this is like happening now after just a few months of this, like imagine the ceiling to this. Also, Matt Weber, sorry, your board isn't working. Reach out on the ReWheel Discord and we'll get you sorted out. We can't do that right now, but we have a bunch of resources for you. So
Yeah, and I think he was mostly because he was talking about that quart battery, like that percentages and stuff or whatever. I'd be curious to know, like, and you can, if you need to talk about it on Discord or later, make sure we're gonna leave a link in this video when it comes out for the Discord channel itself. Like, if you want to geek out and kind of see what everything is happening for ReWheel, if you want to see the process of doing it for your pint or any of the other boards. As they roll things out, they'll be updating it. We're going to have a link directly to that Discord channel so you guys can get into it, see the conversation. Discord's where it's all going down. I mean, I'm in all kinds of like one wheel Discords at this point. But is there anything that changes when you ReWheel your board in its like charging capabilities? Like, because I know he talked about letting it drain. Like, is there anything different that that people need to be concerned about?
No, I think obviously if you're hitting higher top speeds, like
and if you are magnificent at not reading disclaimers and warning signs and multiple warning signs that says don't do this on GT, and then you post about it online and go, oh, it doesn't even, like, what, this sucks, and then people call you out for not being able to read, and then you go, it doesn't matter, I just bought a new one, then you're a special kind of breed. But for everyone else, just please follow the instructions. That's basically step one, and you're doing experimental stuff, so be ready if there's an issue. But I mean, we've thought this through a lot. Nisha's thought it through a lot.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, but specifically around like the charging stuff in particular, like there is no there's nothing that we change in the way that the board behaves. Like that's all controlled by the BMS, which has its own chip, its own management system. All that actually happens on the controller side is it just receives that. So when you hit the power button on a Pint XR GT, the signal actually doesn't even go to the controller; it goes directly to the BMS. So we don't touch that part at all. It shouldn't really change. Yeah.
I just had a really great question from Josh Haley. What is ReWheel's hardware partnership / collaboration policy?
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I after I read it out loud.
Basically,
I don't know what you mean because you were in the chat with us that when we started it all, so you're a part of the collaboration.
Josh just wants to collaborate. Josh just wants everything that you guys have. That's it.
Well,
That's all it is.
As Matt said, Josh has been in the chat with us since we started it. So yeah, he's actually been part of that.
Shout
whole
out to
collaboration.
Josh. I was just on the phone with him
he's
earlier.
awesome.
Shout out to Josh Haley, and if you guys
He's helped with. Sorry, he's helped with figuring out basically where we hack into this originally before we had the wireless stuff. He has done some tremendous work on that front. He's one of the best repair guys in the biz, and yeah, so definitely thank you for all the hard work, and just reach out. We're our DMs are open.
slide into the DMs, Josh. Josh is an incredible human being. I love it because every time I get on the phone, he's like an explosion of ideas, and I'm like, all right, now let's dial it back just a couple, and then execute on these few, and we'll come back full explosion.
Every time I talk to Josh, like he doesn't do this on purpose, but sometimes I feel dumb because I'm just like I'm expecting a certain level of knowledge, and then he's like, I'm gonna go 6 above, and I'm like, oh shit,
What are you?
that's
what
right.
are you
You're like
talking about?
really smart. Like,
He's like a freaking Einstein of one wheels. I love it. Is that them?
It's them.
Okay, perfect.
Oh yeah, Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you got broken windows, right?
That's why I got everyone.
Shout out if you Matt, what's your shop address? Anyone that's hanging out in the chat.
On that note, I had a guy come in right after we started this that was pretty. He looked like a undercover cop. just that vibe. And he was like, yeah, my pint has this weird like red light in the front. And I was like, oh, that's interesting because like now we know kind of how that all works. And I was like, wait, are you a mole? Like, or did you just get water damage? And he was like, oh, pretty nice shop. Hope it works out. And I was like, you're definitely a mole. But he definitely wasn't
Apparently,
a
Future
mole.
Motion's got that mole money.
But no custom shaping money for GT.
Shots fired.
Ooh, pop, 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 pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
excited
that
to
been,
get
like a
that out.
year or something? I think I've been seeing people
Yeah,
in the Facebook
literally a
groups. It's
year.
like,
I don't know if we mentioned that we do have it working on the GT too, and it.
Yeah,
is
I was
pretty
gonna.
wild. Yeah.
I was gonna say Nish just said he don't make that GT money, and he still release it.
now
I don't
now I am curious because I saw something, and now this is again comment reading and whatnot. And maybe you guys know some stuff. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I wonder if Future Motion is still dealing with some CPSC stuff. Like it looked like
They
from
probably are.
Neil. It looked like it was one of the things that Neil had mentioned, and Neil Bennett is obviously out there. Shout out to Neil, he's incredible. I don't know if this whole CPSC thing is done or what they're dealing with behind the scenes and Future Motion is handling. So I mean, if they're dealing with that kind of stuff, I'm sure that like them even thinking about putting out custom GT shaping after that is like
Yeah.
a sign that says please like kill me.
Yeah. I mean, and granted, like for their questionable, some questionable business practices, like I do feel for them in that like they're in a tough situation where they're literally a robotics product that everyone uses in really gnarly ways and are bound to get into injuries, which means you're going to have lawsuits, which means people are going to come after you, which means the way you think about building product and the way you protect yourselves is very conservative in terms of the legal approach you use. So
Right.
I get it. It's tough.
And I sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, on like in one breath, I'll be like, yeah, FFM, and then I'm like, oh, but you know what though? There's some tech there that genuinely just wants to make this product the best that he can, and now
Yeah.
I feel bad because I don't want to make that guy sad or
I
girl
don't-
sad.
no,
Like
I,
that's
I absolutely love Future Motion. Like, do not
Yeah.
get me wrong, but I
Yeah.
love a lot of people out there that have created
Yeah.
really great things that just have some bad habits, right? That's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it. There's some like really big miscommunication things, and you're dealing with two types of communities here. You're dealing with like old skaters who grew up in like skate and destroy 90s culture that's not going to give a fuck
Yep.
about your patents. And then you're dealing with like tech people who on the same token grew up in rebellious culture and says, I don't give a fuck what you
Yep.
want to lock down. I'm going to do what I want. So you have all these people that are saying, I don't give a fuck what you do. I'm going to go ahead and continue to do
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah. It's between a rock and a hard place for them for sure.
right. But I
Yeah.
I love them. They've created a phenomenal product. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's important for people not to like completely bash them, but
Yeah.
karma's gonna get them. They're gonna pay for their mistake. It's just happening. But we also have to be like cautious and mindful of like. There's plenty of
Yeah.
other options now. There's ReWheel. There's Vesk. Like there's so
Yep.
many other options now for you guys. Just
Float wheel.
I'm trying.
Yeah, flow
trying.
wheel.
I'm just. This is. I don't know why, but this is the year I chose violence, and it hasn't stopped since like mid 2022. And I don't,
Love it.
That's like every song that you pick for our little highlights.
it's all,
It's
dude.
all
Oh
like-
my gosh, I gotta. What's it? It's funk. It was like funk, and then something.
Oh, the
I
drift
just-
funk. Yeah.
yeah, it's like some of that, and then like I can't remember the artist's name, but like just look through our stuff and you'd be like, oh, he's going through some shit right now as he's making these.
I'll go see like the reels and stuff that are being created for our pushback, just the content that gets in, and I'm like, man, every one of these is like,
Dude, it's
I
a
wanna-
vibe,
I
though.
want to punch somebody. Like,
Yeah, you better keep that energy.
my little 2 cents on like just FM. I wouldn't have the store without One Wheels, and so like I owe them for that. But at the same time, I don't really owe them anything because they've never given me support. I've reached out to them to try to fix boards, and they're just like completely. They didn't even. They said send us a video of what's happening to the new GT that's erroring. When the first wave came out, and I did that, and I was like, just let me fix it. I think I know how to do it, and they're like. They didn't respond to me. They reached back out to the customer and were like, "Here's the shipping label. Come pick it up and send it to us." Like it's
Right.
like, dude, like they just seem really cold and disconnected and making money. Which they're a product. They're a company with a monopoly on this product in the United States. So that's kind of bogus. Like, it's a really good product, changed a lot of lives for the better, but then they don't let you repair it, and they create e-waste, and there's, so
Right.
hashtag
Yeah, it's
right
a very
to repair.
it's a very
Give
it's
us some
a
love.
Silicon Valley type company with a very Apple-esque anti-right to repair mentality, but you just kind of picked the wrong product to go into that with. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, even like my MacBook, like, I get it. Like, Apple's very like their ecosystem is great, but it's
To be fair
fluid.
though, you see a lot of, like, in my line of work, it, like, I had to make a sticker that's like a PSA, Stokey the Bear, that says, like, don't put long screws near the battery box, because a lot of those battery fire videos you see are just people that, like, can't be trusted to fix their own electronics. But
Right.
that's not to say, that everyone can't fix their stuff. Maybe they should have, like, designated shops around the country that you could, like, get your boards fixed on within warranty. But I guess that wouldn't make as much money, so they're like, fuck it. I don't know.
Right.
Speculating, but I hate to, throw them under the bus, but when like the GT comes out and they're like, they say something behind the scenes like, we're going to put all the independent repair shops out of business with this one, and when we
Yeah.
find out it's booby trapped, it's like, that's the wrong direction, guys. And
Right.
now it's not booby trapped anymore. So I mean, what's up?
Is
I don't know. Even with the oh, go ahead.
is Stokey the Bear a sticker already? I want that.
Yeah.
Do you actually have Stokey the Bear stickers?
We need the Soaky the Bear stickers.
Please, I'll pay.
I was gonna.
I love this sticker.
Oh my god. Oh.
Hey, listen. If I'm gonna send you more stickers, I better get some of these.
Yeah,
back.
yeah, I better
Oh,
get some.
he can't hear you right now.
Ah!
They want more stick. If they're sending you stickers, they want Stokey the Bear.
We can do an exchange. I got a bunch of these.
Oh,
Yes!
beautiful. All right. Perfect. So when my like point with them too, like just picking the wrong product to be so anti-right to repair and whatnot. Again, like I'm a huge proponent of Apple systems. They lock a lot of their stuff down. They don't make it easy. They have a great ecosystem, and the products work really well for what they are in their designated use cases, and that's why some people are going to love it. I don't think that Future Motion's really dialed their product in yet that it's that great. You know what I mean? It's
No.
like it's like a kick. It's literally a Kickstarter product
Yep.
that has we're like 8 years in or whatever that is, 2014 to now.
Shouts out TK Garrett for helping with the sticker.
Hey,
So what you were just saying, like I lost my train of thought. Oh,
it's
crap.
not a refined product. It's
Yeah,
not a refined product.
Like after after writing Vesk, like for 10 like in the first 5 minutes I got on my
the
Fokker, I was
community's
like,
done this in
this
2
is
years.
yeah, I was like, this is how you were supposed to write this.
How long has ReWheel been going on? Like the project wise, let's talk about like
This is where we show the board. So we actually started this project last like January, February. You can actually see the board where we plotted out everything that we were doing for ReWheel. These are all the questions we were asking ourselves.
February.
Yeah.
So
And
literally,
then-
we're talking a 12-month span here for this for the progress that this has been created in. Like,
And I would say most of that progress happened probably in the last 3 or 4 months. So it kind of came in and went in waves where like, where we could pull the firmware even though it had been locked down. And then this other guy proved out the concept 3 months later. And then we were like, let's try it out 3 months later. How do we look at firmware? Because we've never done this stuff before. Like I've never reverse engineered firmware. This is so learning that process, and then I think the pace has accelerated, especially once it started getting released to people and more people were able to test it out and see like what we
yeah,
can
I
do
mean,
with this.
what are you up to in the Discord? Like 750, 800 members now, something like that.
Something like that. It's pretty crazy.
I mean,
And the ReWheel app page has been translated into like multiple different languages too. I think that's pretty cool.
yeah.
yes.
I don't have like actual like analytics on the site because I just refuse to put any trackers on it.
Yeah.
But I've seen just from people like hitting like the API endpoints for I don't know, like looking for like downloading Future Motion stuff. Just in the past like 2 weeks was like 1,500 people. So I know that it's
Nice.
being used by a lot of people,
amazing.
but I just don't know how many.
I can't wait for the day that we find like a leaked like phone video of like someone in Future Motion like
Rewheeling
doing
the
it to their own pint in the shop.
Real
I'm sure
quick,
they have.
Josh Haley coming in with the energy that I love. He says, "You own the things that you buy." Yes, do with them as you wish.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
seriously though, you own the stuff that you. And so shout out to people like Nish. Shout out to shout out to Vetter and Surf Dado and like all of these guys like making products that that are for the better.
I
You got
just-
a bad look on your face when I
just
said
had
that.
I just had the worst thought ever.
What's that?
What if FM's waiting to release custom shaping because they're gonna do it on a subscription service?
Oh gosh. Well then they're fucked for sure.
Oh
like,
my god! Like that makes my
No.
heart sad to even think about. Oh, it hurts. It
Expel the
genuinely
thought
hurts.
from your
it's like
head.
the it's like the thought of all these like, and I don't know if you saw this argument with there was like Ford released it. They were trying to put in like a box for the electric cars that basically would drive themselves back to the lot if
Yep.
if you didn't make your
Yeah.
payments, right, or
Yep.
would stall the car and you couldn't use it. All of a sudden you just see all these boards ghosting back towards California.
Shout out
Somebody,
Louis Rossman.
somebody in chat goes, "No shit, don't give them ideas."
Wait, we can have subscriptions.
Oh, you know they thought about that already. You
Yeah.
know.
But I mean, and this is not to be a complete diss at them, but like their firmware, they didn't make any real change from like moving it into GT land from the old ones. I don't think they put too much energy into that world. So I don't think I don't know if they don't have the capability or they just don't have the time and energy right now to do it. But I don't think they have the capability to make that happen at the moment or anytime soon. I wouldn't worry about subscriptions.
Okay, good, good. I'm happy for
Yeah, I,
that.
don't- I mean, even if they did, who cares?
I mean,
Like,
I don't
we're-
care. I have a Fokker. Who, whatever.
at this point, what we're really looking for in the industry are battery makers, right? Like,
Yep.
and I would say hub creators, and then like foot pad creators. There's I know Exile foot pads are coming out. Like that's like a third party pad. I know I've seen a couple other pad makers. Superflux. Obviously, you can buy the float wheel hub by itself, which I don't know how that'll work if you have to use a float wheel board, but I'm sure somebody's going to figure out how to use their 6 horsepower hub, whatever the hell that marketing is, with with an open source board, a DIY board. So I'm so stoked for this year, and I'm stoked that we got a chance to actually hang out with you guys and talk about some of the crazy things. Like I'm stoked about all the LED stuff that you're talking about. Like,
that's so
That's
cool.
what gets me excited.
man, it's just so great. Like, it would be really cool. You get it synced up with like, what's the helmet? There's a helmet company out
Yeah,
there
Lumos.
that actually.
So I actually
yeah,
had
Lumos.
a product that was a competitor to them that I was building back in the boosted board days, and it was so that you could basically hook up your own strips and make your own custom lighting patterns using an app, and you could like layer them up on top of each other and have them react to different things. But
That would be so
yeah,
cool.
I'm pretty sure we could just do that in the firmware on the
Right.
one wheels.
So
yeah.
that would be so sweet if you had it like sync up with a Lumos helmet
Oh,
or some
cool.
type of.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen this guy.
What is this?
Shout out Matt Shoemaker. This is the Halo pad for the GT, and it's got room for a light LED strip here. And we were thinking, since we can control the
Is that s-
LEDs now,
Is that basically see through?
yeah, it's clear.
Ooh.
And so you could have a strip of individually addressable LEDs in here, in the front, in the back, and then do some nifty wiring into the GT or eventually the Pint when he comes out with those, and have it your headlights and taillights could project onto the foot pads and transition appropriately, or go full party mode.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
We're building some party boards
Dude,
now. Let's
I'm
go.
so excited for the future of everything
Let's
that goes on.
go.
This is so cool.
maybe Float Life will actually look into making bang bumpers for the Pint at this point now. Like people
That'd
are
be
going to be
cool. Yeah.
reviving the Pint back up. I wonder what do you think the holdup is? Like what's a
Not
complicated
up demand. Because the Pint wasn't cool enough and bad at tricks, and they're all about going hard, winning races, winning trick events, and putting out good content. Would shout out Float Life, they do a great job of all that stuff. But the Pint, it's just until now kind of sucked. So
right
maybe they will now.
Understatement.
Until now.
Pints are just for nerds like me who wanted to travel with them.
That's literally Dylan upstairs.
Yeah. Hey, you know what though? You can't. I can't fault. I can't fault those people. Like they just want the product and they just want to turn it on and go and not mess with it. And I'm totally okay with that. But I told them I was like, if you get on my XR, you're never gonna want to go back.
Yeah.
I had that exact experience happen very recently. I was down in Mexico City for the Dia de los Muertos parade, and someone rented me their XR on like Friend with and I was like, wait, where has this board been my entire life, even though everyone's been riding these things?
That's amazing. I remember I was reluctant at first. I was like, I don't really want to ride an XR. I love the pipe form factor. I'm like, it's small, it's easy to pack, it's got the handle already built in and whatnot. And then the second I felt the power behind an XR, like we were on a trail and like my pint died in like 2-3 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
And then going trail ride with an XR, I was like, oh, it's like a
It all
snowboard.
makes sense now. Yep.
And then
Yep.
I was like, oh, I want to ride it. And he goes, if you ride it, you're gonna want one. And I was like, no, it's okay. And I got it and I started riding. And I looked at him, I'm like, you fucker. What have you done?
Yeah.
So
Bye bye money.
So I know we've got a little bit of a time constraint here with you guys, and I want to be mindful and make sure.
Oh.
Is there anything else like on the horizon, on the radar that you want to talk to the people about, like with the whole ReWheel experience? And also like how can the community, how can we support you guys?
You know, I think I could speak more to the latter part than the first, because I think we've kind of gone over some of the patches that are kind of on the horizon. I think it's more of like if people want to contribute, like I know there's a lot of people who either have the tech background or are just amazing writers, and if you want to experiment with it, just reach out and I'm sure we can find a way to get some of those experimental patches, as long as you don't mind doing what we've done here of like wiring up your board in case you want to, like, I don't know, you have to like emergency flash your board back to stock.
And with this stuff, that's where I can come in. You can come into the shop or message me on, tire at tire_side, or find me on Facebook, Matt Ligori, and I can hook you up, literally. And yeah, stop by.
Now is this something that like any e-ride repair shop can do, or is it just specifically like what you have, or?
It's kind of an involved process, but like I'm open to sharing the process with anyone. It's just like a lot of people, this isn't their cup of tea, and so it's just easier for me to be able to do it. But if other people want to learn, I'm definitely open to sharing.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, because I know there's some people that don't like shipping the controllers, moving stuff all around. Like, but this you got a big movement coming around here, and I think the more and more people that actually get on one and actually feel what it feels like and the differences, and I can't tell you anyone I know that has not hit like pushback on a pint. Like it's just. Like it happened. Like my son has hit pushback on the pint multiple times, and he's like 7. You know what I mean? So it's like So, it's just it unlocks a whole different feeling to the board, and I love it. I think you've got like a pint X in your pocket with a pint. And I'm very curious now to know what pint X feels like. So
or the XR, which we also have working.
Ooh.
But XR, like that's where like it's harder because we don't have easily accessible future or like updates from Future Motion that we can just patch.
Sure.
You have to, like, you have to like physically pull it off the board like we did with that crazy contraption you saw earlier in the video.
Right, with the little SE link hanging out of it.
Yeah.
The second you go and nose slide and you just like smash it.
Yeah. Well, so fun fact on this GT, I don't have it exposed just yet, but it's literally going to have a USB-C port that's exposed out. So you can just plug a USB-C cable into your GT.
To be fair, for this one, you don't have to have that plugged in. I just have the 3 wires dangling in here, so it's like
gotcha.
in the grip, and that works out. But yeah, same thing on the pint. Got those wires. But that's sweet that you got the USB-C working.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to tell me that afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes. So make sure they get into the Discord, and obviously like contribution support. You said some people can they donate on the website or?
Yeah. So you could go to on GitHub. If you go to github.com/sponsor/outlandish, there's a donate link there if you want to contribute. Obviously, it's not necessary, but it does go, especially if there's a specific patch. I might put up like a bounty system. So obviously, because this is an open source project and I just do it in my free time, I can't build every single feature that's out there. But if you want a specific feature made, like reach out. We can create a bounty. We can create a bounty program, and that might give like a financial incentive as well to build that feature out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I know you and I have talked about it a little bit. I think here pretty soon we're going to finalize a couple designs and whatnot. And we're going to get some merch up on our store for people to get stuff. We're going to be giving a lot of that back to these guys because we appreciate what they're doing. Like we're just a bunch of people in a dungeon here that like riding one wheels and talking about them. So
I'm glad you guys reached out. It was cool.
yeah, thank you for coming on to the show. And I will be very excited. Like I said, we're going to be releasing that video probably, I don't know, in the next few weeks for how we rewheeled the pint and just giving people kind of like the, you know, the more experimental side of things, how we did it, breaking that barrier to entry a little bit. And I assume by then you guys are going to have way more updates coming. I'd love to have you guys back on the show. Are you guys coming to any events this year? Are you going?
Matt for sure is. I need to figure out. I've actually never been to any community event before, so I almost went to Bentonville last year and I missed out by a day. So I might try going out to some stuff this year. I'm excited.
Are you gonna come to Oak City?
I don't know when that is.
Nish was gonna come, and then he didn't, which is fine. It was like super last minute, but we're gonna like show off the ReWheel. It ended up like with no service in Bentonville, me texting him like, "Hey, can I get that stuff?" And then like on the last day, me and Josh Haley, like on his crazy mad scientist setup, like were able to do it with that board. But the board had like 10% battery left and a regular battery, so we were like showing it off to people, and it was like, you can't really do anything on it, but it's sweet, right? And they're like, I don't know. But yeah, I'll be at some events. Definitely Float Life Fest. Probably Wheel Scorcher, and I'll try to get to some other ones.
Sick. Oak City Shred Fest is
as I
coming.
can.
Oak City Shred Fest is approaching quickly. Like if you guys can make it out there, like we'll be.
I'd be down
like,
to try it. Yeah.
It's a blast. So it's North Carolina.
A little incentive for you, Josh. Haley just said, Nish/Matt, I got your first beers in Oak City.
Yes.
So
So
let's go.
Josh and I were talking about potentially we're going to see because Makers PV is going to be one of the premier sponsors. We're one of the premier sponsors there. So there'll be like there's the Glow Ride presented by the Pushback Army. There's going to be a May the 4th ride because it's going to be happening during May the 4th. We're going to bring lightsabers down and have duels going through downtown.
That
It's going
sounds
to be great.
amazing.
But we might be doing a live FM free build if we can get all the parts and put everything together at the
That's
booth.
exciting.
We're put the board together with all kinds of fun stuff and watch that fucker.
Well, if you guys want some fun lighting stuff for that too, hit me up.
Yes,
Dude, all day.
sold,
All
done,
day.
deal closed, perfect.
Close. And Stokey the Bear.
And Stokey the Bear, lots of Stokey the Bears. I'll
Bonus
have like
points
a
if anyone dresses up as Stokey the Bear.
dude. If anyone dresses up
Don't
as Stokey
tempt
the
me.
Bear,
Only you can prevent battery fires.
I'll have on my Carnage design on the wheels. I'll leave like a mouth spot to like eat the Stokey the Bear, and then you can slap the Stokey the Bear like right when Carnage takes over.
That'd be amazing.
All right, hell yeah, let's get this outro coming. Nish, thank you so much for hopping on the Pushback Army.
Thanks for
Weekly
having me.
Runout show.
Thank you guys.
We are incredibly grateful to have you, and also you, Matt, as well. Thank you for coming on to the show. I know we were talking about having you on the show. Now it's like a double dip. We got you right in on it.
Little surprise guest.
Little surprise guest. Now, moving forward, we got to get an in-person episode with you guys, and we'll do all kinds of fun stuff. That
I'm down.
Fun.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Heck yeah, guys. All right. We will catch you guys at an event in the Discord, all the places. We're going to make sure at the end of this description as well, we'll link up to where people can support you. Support them. Check the link. Check the Discord. Get in there, chat with us, and get yourself rewheeled.
Later. All right, stream's out.